Prayer. But the stars throng out in their glory, and they sing of the God in man, they sing of the mighty Master, of the loom his fingers span, where a star or a soul is part of the whole and weft in the wondrous plan. Robert Service. If you would know the surest way of speeding up your rate of motion and overtaking the things you desire, try prayer. But when I say prayer, I don't mean the begging kind. I don't mean a lot of vain repetitions that seldom have the attention even of the one repeating them, much less of the Lord. Go to the Bible, and you will learn how to pray. Out of 600,000 words in the Old Testament, only 6, when literally translated, mean to ask for things in prayer, and each of these 6 is used but once. Against that, the word palal is used hundreds of times to signify to pray. And palal means to judge yourself to be a marvel of creation, to recognize amazing wonders deep within your soul. Wouldn't that seem to indicate that prayer was meant to be a realization of the powers deep within you? Wouldn't you judge that all you need to do is to expand your consciousness to take in whatever it is that you desire? What things soever you ask for when you pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. You are not to think of your lacks and needs. You are to visualize the things you want. You are not to worry about this debt or that note, but mentally see the infinite supply all about you. All that you need is near ye, God is complete supply. Trust, have faith, then hear ye, dare to assert the T. Remember this, if you pray to God, but keep your attention on your problem, you will still have your problem. You'll run into it and continue to run into it as long as you keep your attention focused upon it. What you must do is fix your attention upon God, upon His goodness, His love, His power to remedy any ill or adjust any untoward condition. Focus your attention upon these, and these are the conditions you will run into. Prayer is expansion, an expansion of yourself into the God-self all around you. As Khalil Gibran describes it in his great book The Prophet, for what is prayer but the expansion of yourself into the living ether? When you pray, you rise to meet in the air those who are praying at that very hour, and whom save in prayer you may not meet. Therefore let your visit to the temple invisible be for naught save ecstasy and sweet communion. I cannot teach you to pray in words. God listens not to your words save when He Himself utters them through your lips. Prayer is a realization of your oneness with God, and of the infinite power this gives you. It is an acceptance of the fact that there is nothing on earth you cannot have once you have mentally accepted the fact that you can have it. Nothing you cannot do, once your mind has grasped the fact that you can do it. Prayer, in short, is thanksgiving for the infinite good God has given you. The word most often used for prayer in the Old Testament means to sing a song of joy and praise, and how often you see that method used by every great character of the Bible. Running through all of Jesus Christ's acts, as well as His teachings, you find the glowing element of praise and thanksgiving. When He looked at 5 loaves and 2 small fishes and realized that He had a multitude to feed, His first thought was a thought of praise. And looking up to heaven, He blessed. When He raised Lazarus from the dead, He first praised and thanked God. When Paul and Silas lay in jail, bound with chains, did they repine? Did they get down on their knees and beg for help? On the contrary, they sang hymns of praise, and the very walls were shaken down and they were set free. The righteous doth sing and rejoice. The sons of God shouted for joy. Go back over the Old Testament and see how often you are adjured to praise the Lord and be thankful, that then shall the earth yield her increase. Probably no life chronicled in the Scriptures was more beset with trials and dangers than that of King David. And what was his remedy? What brought him through all tribulations to power and riches? Just read the Psalms of David and you will see. Jehovah reigneth, let the earth rejoice, let the multitude of isles be glad. Bless Jehovah, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless His holy name. Who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases. Throughout the Bible, we are told in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known unto God. Again and again the root of inspiration and attainment is stressed, rejoice, be glad, praise, give thanks. Prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the window of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. The most complete interpretation of prayer I have heard came from the man who wrote once I used to say please. Now I say, thank you. Enter into His gates with thanksgiving, the psalmist bade us, and into His courts with praise. Be thankful unto Him and bless His name. And Christ's apostles tell us the same thing. Let us offer up a sacrifice of praise to God continually. In everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known unto God. Someone has said that prayer is the Spirit of God pronouncing His works good. This is the day Jehovah hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. It is sound psychology as well, as Professor William James of Harvard testified. If you miss the joy, he wrote, you miss all. Complete, wholehearted reliance upon God, that is the prayer of faith. Not an imploring of God for some specific thing, but a clear, unquestioning recognition that the power to be and do and have the things you want is inherent in you, that you have only to recognize this power and put your trust in it to get anything of good you wish. But perhaps you have prayed long and fervently for some particular thing, and it has not come? What then? Has it ever occurred to you that the answer was there, but you didn't receive it because you were not ready or willing to accept it? God always answers prayer. Over and over He tells us this. The answer to your prayer is as sure as tomorrow's sunrise. You are the one who is not sure. You are not sure, and so you do not accept the answer. If you accepted it, you would act on it, wouldn't you? Did you ever act upon the answer to those long and fervent prayers of yours? Yet that is the way it must be if you are to pray for an answer and get it. If you pray for health, you must accept health. You must act as though you already had it. If you pray for other things, you must accept them at once and start doing, even on the smallest scale, the things you would do when the answer to your prayer became evident. Dr. Alexis Carrel, the brilliant scientist who for many years headed the Rockefeller Institute, stated that prayer is the most powerful form of energy one can generate. The influence of prayer on the human mind and body, Dr. Carrel went on to say, is as demonstrable as that of secreting glands. Its results can be measured in terms of increased physical buoyancy, greater intellectual vigor, moral stamina, and a deeper understanding of the realities underlying human relationships. Prayer is as real as terrestrial gravity. As a physician, I have seen men, after all other therapy had failed, lifted out of disease and melancholy by the serene effort of prayer. It is the only power in the world that seems to overcome the so-called laws of nature. The occasions on which prayer has dramatically done this have been termed miracles. But a constant, quieter miracle takes place hourly in the hearts of men and women who have discovered that prayer supplies them with a steady flow of sustaining power in their daily lives. An old peasant was kneeling alone in a village church, long after the services had ended. "What are you waiting for?" the priest asked him. "I'm looking at him," the peasant replied, "and he is looking at me." That is prayer, of the kind that Emerson said no man ever prayed without learning something. I never try to do my work by my own power alone. When I begin to make my prayer before God's holy throne, I ask that His almighty power may work its will through me, and so each task is done with ease. I'm charged with power, you see. Hannah Orth. In the 18th chapter of St. Matthew, Jesus gives us a method of praying that He assures us will bring us anything we ask for. "Again I say unto you, that if two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them." That would seem simple enough, for 2 or 3 to gather together and agree upon some one thing that all should ask for. It is simple, too, and when properly done, it works wonders. In the magic word, we give a number of true experiences in which little groups of people got together and prayed for the particular needs of someone of their number, with seemingly miraculous results. It is the most effective method of prayer known, and the only reason it is not used oftener is that people so seldom agree upon what they shall ask for. They will get together and agree to pray for the health of some of their number, but where one may be thinking of health and strength, another will be dwelling upon his suffering, or the hardships it has brought upon his family, or any one of a dozen other negative images. To get results, all must think of the health and strength they are praying for, not the sickness. They must dwell upon the power of God to heal the sick one, not upon the misery his sickness has caused. 2,000 years before Christ, it was said in the Vedas that if 2 people would unite their forces, they could conquer the world, though singly they might be powerless. And psychologists and metaphysicians everywhere agree that the power of 2 minds united in a single cause is not merely their individual powers added together, but multiplied manifold. Perhaps this can best be explained in terms of electrical power. Take an ordinary magnet capable of lifting, let us say, 10 pounds of iron. Wrap this magnet with wire and charge it with the current from a small battery. It will lift not merely 10 pounds, but 100 pounds or more. That is what happens when one person prays and believes, and another adds his prayer and his faith. Why did Jesus send out His disciples, 2 and 2? Why was it that on the one occasion he went alone among the crowd of scoffers, he was able to do no mighty works on the occasion of his visit to his hometown of Nazareth? You find the answer written in the Bible because of their unbelief. Before a miracle could be wrought, there had to be faith not only on Jesus' part, but on the part of someone around him. Read how often he told those he cured, "Thy faith hath made thee whole." If you were stuck on a muddy road with a heavily loaded 2-horse wagon, and I were stuck with another right behind you, what would be the quickest way out? To unhitch my horses, would it not, couple them onto your wagon tongue and let the 2 teams pull you out? They could then take my wagon in its turn and pull it onto solid ground. What neither team could accomplish alone, the 2 pulling together could easily do. Have you ever noticed a locomotive pulling a long train of cars? To start such a train takes 90% of the locomotive's power. To keep it running on a smooth stretch takes less than 1%. So a freight locomotive must have nearly 100 times as much power as it needs for ordinary smooth running. You are like a locomotive in that. To start you on the road to success requires every bit of energy you can muster. To keep you there, once you have reached the top, needs only a fraction of your abilities. The locomotive must carry its extra 99% of power as a reserve, to start it again when it stops for orders or water or to pick up or unload freight, or to carry it over a heavy grade. It can do nothing with all that extra energy at other times, except to blow off steam. But what about you? You need your full 100% to get started. Probably there are many times when you draw upon all of it to carry you through some grave difficulty, to push aside some obstacle that bars your way. But for the most part, you just carry that extra energy as a reserve. What can you do with it? Find outlets for it. All around you are men and women earnest, hardworking men and women who have put their hearts into their work, but lack some of the 100% energy that would start them on the road to success. They are like freight locomotives that are perfect engines, but not quite up to the task of starting as heavy a train as has been given them. Give them a push, help them to get started or over the hump of some obstacle or difficulty, and they will go far. But getting started is too much for them alone. Why should you do this? Because only thus can you profit from that excess energy you have to carry for emergencies, but which you so seldom use. How do you profit? Through the additional reserve power it brings you. A stalled train is a useless thing. Worse than that, it is an encumbrance, in the way of everything else that uses the line. It may be generating all but 10% of the power required to move it, but without that 10%, the 90% is useless. So the 10% you furnish to get it started is of as much value to it as the 90% it furnishes, and is entitled to as great reward. When you help another in that way, you have in effect grub-staked him, and you share in the spiritual power that his success brings him. As Edwin Markham put it in his little poem, "There is a destiny that makes us brothers, no man goes his way alone, all that we send into the lives of others comes back into our own." So whenever you have some earnest purpose or want to help a friend or loved one to accomplish some greatly cherished ambition, follow the advice Jesus gives us and unite in prayer for a few minutes each day until you have brought about the answer to that desire. And when praying alone, remember, first, center your thoughts on the thing that you want, not on your need. Second, read the 9 first and the 23rd Psalms, just as a reminder of God's power and His readiness to help you in all your needs. Third, be thankful, not merely for past favors, but for granting this favor you are now asking. To be able to thank God for it sincerely, in advance of its actual material manifestation, is the finest evidence of belief. Fourth, believe. Picture the thing that you want so clearly, see it in your imagination so vividly, that you can actually believe that you have it. It is this sincere conviction, registered upon your subconscious mind, that brings the answer to your prayers. Once convince your subconscious mind that you have the thing that you want, you can forget it and go on to your next problem. The mind will attend to the rest. So sing and rejoice that you have the answer to your prayer. Literally shout for joy, as did the sons of God in days of old. Fifth, remember Emerson's advice: do the thing and you shall have the power. Start doing, even on a small scale, whatever it is that you will do when the answer to your prayer is materially evident. In other words, accept the thing you have asked for. Accept it and start using it. If you have faith in God, or man, or self, say so. If not, push back upon the shelf of silence, your thoughts till faith shall come. No one will grieve because your lips are dumb. Ella Wheeler Wilcox.